This is Real Talk Tea. We're not here for the fake shit, just the tea that actually matters. And the takes people are too scared to say out loud. Let's get into it. So, today we're going to be talking about the African American woman statue in Times Square. Now, this statue has sparked a lot of controversy. People have said, that she looks tired, she looks exhausted, she's a bad representation for African American women. And me, as an African American woman myself, I kind of agree. But at the same time, we have to look at the facts, okay? So, the average African American woman weighs 188 pounds. This is not me, this is from statistics. This woman on the statue, I'm not sure what weight they were trying to perceive her as, but to me, I would say she weighs around 190 to 200 something. And unfortunately, if the average woman in America is overweight and that statue is supposed to depict the average woman, well, that's the average woman. And, Kevin Samuels had discussed this on his podcast a few years ago, where he said, the average woman is overweight. And I think the reason why this statue caused so much controversy is because a lot of people know that they need to watch their weight. A lot of people know that they need to diet. A lot of people know that they do not fit the beauty standards at all. And that has nothing to do with race. That has nothing to do with, your skin color. Because you can be dark skinned, you can be an African American woman and dark skinned and still be considered beautiful. Look at Naomi Campbell, look at, Lupita Nyong'o. All these African American women are considered beauty moguls. And that's not because they have white features. That's not because they have curly or straight hair. It's because they carry themselves a certain way with poise. They carry themselves with class. They're not overweight. They act feminine. They wear feminine clothes, not stretch pants and a crop top and, some sneakers. And, when I was growing up, a lot of other black women, a lot of other black girls, they made fun of me for not dressing like them, not wearing, spandex to school, not wearing, spaghetti straps on my nipples, because they called me gay. They called me, masculine, or, it's like in our community, it's almost like being ratchet is glorified. And I hate to say this, like, this is not to bash anyone, but let's look at some examples. Glorilla, Megan Thee Stallion, City Girls. They all act just like the girls I went to school with. They're loud, they're promiscuous, or they may not be promiscuous, but they present as promiscuous. The way they act is masculine. I don't need a man, all these ends don't compete with me, that type of thinking. I think that's why a lot of us are seen. A lot of black women say that we're not desirable and they complain about this. I believe that is one of the reasons, because we're not seen as prized, or we're not seen as something that is exclusive. And I'm not saying that men are right about everything, but think about this. If you were dating a guy and he told you that he was talking to 10 different women, or that he gives every woman money that he meets, would you feel special? No, you wouldn't. So that applies to women. Women's version of that is, okay, I'm giving every man I meet specs. All right, so that's why we're seen as quote unquote undesirable by not every man, right? Not every man, before people say it's not every man, it's not every man, but a good majority of people would rather date, someone else than our race. And that's because we don't carry ourselves with dignity. Not every woman, not every black woman, but a good majority. We don't carry ourselves with dignity. We don't carry ourselves with class. We don't dress appropriately. you know, and promiscuity is praised, it's celebrated. When I was in high school, um, when I was in high school, and I told people that I, was untouched, they made fun of me for that. Why are you waiting? Like, who's gonna marry you? What's the point in waiting? So, we have to look at ourselves before we point fingers at everyone else. In the Black community, promiscuity is celebrated, and that's not a good thing. That's really, really morally bad. And I'm not going to get into religion or anything. Like me, myself, I am Christian, but I know not everyone is Christian, so I'm not going to bring that into this conversation. But that's also a reason why, I myself, I don't believe in sleeping with multiple people. And, it's okay to date people, but when it comes to putting your body on the line and stuff like that, this should not be celebrated to me. So back to the original topic. This statue represents the average Black woman, and the average Black woman, like I said, I'm not trying to hurt any feelings or anything like that, but the average Black woman is not, not some beauty mogul. And I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but I mean, go outside, go to Walmart, go down the street. If you see a Black girl, what does she look like to you? And, it's not like we can't be a beauty standard. We just don't put any effort into it. We don't try to lose weight, And I know, a lot of us try to grow our hair out. We do the skincare. We spend thousands on lipo and BBL and lip fillers and every surgery you can think of. That is not what I mean. So getting surgery, this is a touchy subject, all right? Some people, unfortunately, they may need the surgery. They may need to get, a little stomach tuck or a breast job. Like if you feel like you're not happy with yourself and, your body is causing you torture, like just to live in your body, then go for it. As long as you're safe, as long as everyone's healthy, I don't have an issue with that. But my point is that we don't naturally try to level ourselves up a lot. There's nothing wrong with wigs. It's nothing wrong with makeup. I like wigs. I like makeup. But instead of, let me go get surgery, why don't you try to lose weight? Why don't you try to exercise first? You'd be surprised. Like, there are some people who were fat, right? Who were big, who were overweight. They went to the gym, they exercised, and now, guess what? You would think they have a BBL. So, my point is that we don't put effort into ourselves besides surgery. And I know it's every race of women, it's not just Black women, but we, for some reason, if you look at the statistics, we are the ones who buy into plastic surgery the most. And why is that? Why do we feel like we have to change our bodies so drastically the most? Is it because we don't fit Eurocentric standards? Is it because Black men like that? Is it because white men like that? Why do we feel like we have to drastically change our bodies so much? Let me know in the comments. When I was younger, I wanted to get all type of stuff. I wanted to get a nose job. I wanted to get breast implants, BBL, lipo, like just change my whole self. And it's because for me, I got bullied so much in school. Like when I say bully, I mean, I go to lunch, people are laughing. I go to class, I could not stay in class. I had to skip class sometimes. That's how bad it was because I live in California. So it's really like racist, colorist, everything you can imagine out here. It was so bad. Like if you're a dark skinned girl and you're not like a 10 or a baddie, you get, oh my God, you don't even want to know. But if that's the case where when you were younger and you were bullied a lot, I understand. But if you've never had an issue with attracting men or making friends, or you were not a social outcast, I don't understand why you have to get so many surgeries. Like, what's the point? So next, moving on. Okay, so why are we offended by this statue? When I say we, I mean all the people who are outraging online about this statue. Why are you offended by this statue if you don't fit that category? Why are you offended? Because for me, I wasn't mad at the statue. Like, I'm not skinny per se, you know? I'm kind of overweight. I'm 5'7", I'm 190. I'm kind of overweight, right? But even I wasn't outraged. Like, that just gave me, okay, I need to start losing weight. I need to work out. It was a wake-up call for me. You know, that statue, the fact that the artist sees black women that way, to me, is a wake-up call for me. It's not like I'm angry. So what's the anger? Like, are you mad that you're not seen as sexy or like Beyonce or Rihanna? Because nobody, like Beyonce and Rihanna, right? They're the top 5-10%. Like, not many people look like that. So it's, you know, don't feel bad. Like, we're just average. It's not bad to be average. You know, not everybody's gonna be Alicia Keys. Not everybody's gonna be Halle Berry. Okay, it is what it is. But as long as you are making yourself the best version of yourself, that's all you can do. And you will attract a man. You will attract a husband. You will attract friends. As long as you're working on yourself actively and making yourself the best you can be. All right. So I don't understand why we're angry, because we don't need to be angry at a statue. That doesn't represent you. That represents... See, the statue to me is a symbol of the lack of effort we put into ourselves. It's not like literally saying we're all big and ugly. That's not what it's saying. It's like, a lot of you guys do not try to lose weight. A lot of you guys have an attitude. You know, you're always exhausted. And why is that? Is it because we don't have a lot of help? We're always having to be strong? Because that to me is a symbol. Okay, we're always, black women, like my mom, she was a single mom, right? Always having to do everything by herself, always tired, always having to be strong, you know, always having to tell somebody off. The attitude, that's where that comes from, because the attitude, quote unquote, is, all right, nobody respects me, so I have to force you to respect me. That's the attitude part. The tired part is, oh, you know, I have to do everything by myself because we're seen as strong, we're seen as independent, so nobody tries to help us. That's the strong part. That's the tired part. The laziness in our parents, I don't feel like doing anything else because I already have to do a million things. So I don't feel like working out. I don't feel like losing weight, because losing weight means not eating. And when you're tired, you want to eat a lot, right? So it's just a symbol, like, all right, what can I do to make my life easier so I don't look like that? Because if you're tired, you're just not going to want to put any effort into your appearance, right? So that's my thoughts on the statue. I'm not angry at the statue. You know, the statue just helps motivate me to make my life better, to where I have enough leisure time to make sure my appearance is good, right? That's what we should look at it as. Not like it's a, you know, attack on us. He might have meant it as an attack, but who cares? We're going to look at it like, all right, so you think we look like that? All right, well, I'm going to go work out 10 times more now. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, please let me know what you guys think in the comments about this statue. And I will be making another video soon. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.